चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। विष्णुपदाय सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषणे पुष्टि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासुदेव गौर भक्त हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे। There are two interesting ideas. They apparently look contradictory, but they have a context also. So there is this book called The Lessons of History. Just how Mahabharata is basically life, and how Gita very systematically using a philosophy of life, which includes Advaishta Sarvabhutana Maitra Karuneva. How our rishis were able to reconcile. Whether you read Chaitanya Charitamrita or Hitopadesh, the basic underlying principle of life, right? Like it is explained that Lord Chaitanya is like the thunderbolt, and at the same time is like a soft rose. As far as I understand, this was quoted by Sarva Bhattacharya, right? Or when you see Krishna Lila, Krishna is Makhan also, he also has a stick also. Shastra and Shastra. So Gita and Mahabharata, they give us the Gita gives us the philosophy and Mahabharata gives us the context. There are two things which I wanted to focus on. This he explains war is one of the constants of history and has not diminished with civilization or democracy. In the last 3,421 years of recorded history, only 268 have seen no war. Imagine, huh? Only 268 years have not seen war. Rest, everyone has seen the war. We have acknowledged war as an present, the ultimate form of competition and natural selection in the human species. Polemos pater ponton. This is the, I think, German, this thing said Heraclitus. War or competition is the father of all things, the potent source of ideas, inventions, institutions, and states. Peace is an unstable equilibrium which can be preserved only by acknowledged supremacy or equal power. Right? When you read Krishna coming to Kauravas, a peacemaker in Hastinapur, if you read that, you'll understand how Sri Krishna was trying to explain Duryodhana about working with the Pandavas. Right? And Duryodhana was not willing to agree to give to anything to the Pandavas. It was not that he was foolish. He knew that giving them 5 villages means eventually they will expand, because they had the superior capabilities. So either make them completely beggars or fight them till death. In between kuch nahi tha. It was not stupidity on his part. It was a right understanding on his part. After all, they are kings. They are not Buddha. They are not sages living in the forest. They will expand for the right reason or for the wrong reason, whatever. The causes of war are the same as the causes of competition among individuals, macro and micro level. It is the inherent character of Prakriti, Jivo, Jivasya Jivanam, survival of the fittest. If you are fit, you survive. The cause of the war are the same as the cause of competition among individuals. Acquisitiveness, pugnacity, and pride. The desire for food, land, materials, fuels, mastery. The state has our instincts with our own restraints. The individual submits to restraints laid upon him by morals and laws and agrees to replace combat with conference. देखो कितना अच्छा word is किया. Because the state guarantees him basic protection in his life, property and legal rights. The state itself acknowledges no substantial restraints either because it is strong enough to defy any interference with its will or because there is no super state to offer it basic protection and no international law or moral code wielding effective force. Right. So, यानी कि छोटे से, if you see in a garden also or you see in a battlefield of Kurukshetra also, the principle of survival of the fittest is there in the every breath. If this is the case, why then our shastras also speak something in a very quoted quite often. I am nija paro vyakti gananam lagu chetasam udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. What does it mean? Jo soch, the kind of disposition person has, jo viparit, means they do not think that this is mine, they are my relatives, they are not my relatives. This is the soch, this is the mindset of a small-minded people. For the large-hearted, vasudhaiva kutumbakam, entire creation is one family. This verse comes from Maha Upanishad, one of the small Upanishad. But interestingly, this is quoted in the Panchatantra. It is quoted in the Panchatantra for a wrong reason, to allure a deer by Shrigal, or a hunter. I don't exactly remember, right? But this was quoted wrongly at the wrong place with the wrong intention. While a Subuddhi named crow was trying to protect. Right. So therefore, the second part, what we discuss, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam Udara Charitana. This aspect is quoted for, learning things from every corner of the world. दुनिया से किधर भी सीख सकते हो, सीखने के लिए. Because knowledge, Veda, the word Vedas, we have discussed this before also. Who are Nastik? Nastik are those who do not accept the Vedas. Right. But the folk tradition, if they are so when the Nastikas like Buddhist and Jain, to black and white also. And at the same time, when you accept something from somewhere, there is a tendency, you read something and say, oh, everything is good about this. Like one of the, yesterday somebody sent a message of one Prabhupada disciple quote, that Prabhupada never practiced Chaturmas. He gives a story. Now that story does not become a reference for everything what is spoken about Chaturmas. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita speaks about what to be eaten, what should not be eaten. Right? This devotee quotes that Prabhupada told Chaturmas is only for the sannyasi, only after practicing for 10 years. What that reference point becomes the reference point for everything what is said? No, you have to see the context, you have to see the entire reference point and work on it. Now, similarly, quoting Jesus Christ or Muhammad as the messenger of God, he may have quoted many times, but again you have to see the reference from the scripture, right? तो इसलिए दोनों कॉन्टेक्स्ट को देखने से समझ में आता है कि कब कितना उपयोग करना चाहिए किसका. The war is a reality, and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is also a reality. And we can use the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam for the wrong reason also. So, just like in the I was reading some nice inspirational summary of books. In one of the book, it is explained inspiration and manipulation appear to be same. Now here, the Vasudhaivakam Kutumbakam verse was used for manipulation by this hunter. What is the nature of and apparently, manipulation and inspiration sound almost the same. If you can see, almost all the child abuse cases happen from those people who are very inspiring to you. You have great respect for them, right? They're trustworthy people, uncle, aunt, right? So many people like that. Like this book called as Spotlight explains, the one boy who got abused by one of the priest, he explained that the love what my teacher gave me is genuine. There was nothing wrong in that love what he gave. But he made that as an investment, consciously, unconsciously, to abuse me. And that is also truth. Profoundly speaking, दोनों भी सत्य था. प्रेम करना झूठ नहीं था और मेरा अब्यूज करना भी झूठ नहीं था. Both were actually truthful, but the abuse was much higher. So therefore, inspiration and manipulation, we have a thin line difference, right? So therefore, the Mahabharata also explains, Shatyam Shatyam Acharayet. If there is a thug, if there is a wrongdoer, then with Brahaspati Niti does not work out. Now, life is designed like that. What can be done? Unfortunately, that is how it is done. And therefore, our rishis give this in the Gita itself. Gita is such a profound, can deal with all kinds of contradiction. And those who understand, those who do not understand it, those who want to read Gita with finding faults, you go to the 12th chapter. Advaishta sarvabhutana maitra karunevacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukakshami. And the Christians have quoted this to prove the contradiction and hypocrisy in Bhagavad Gita from their perspective. Because you are quoting out of context. Right? The whole concept of nishkama karma, the whole concept of violence and non-violence, and your purpose is to find faults only. You can never learn the art of integration. Even those who are sincere and honest, they don't learn what to speak of, those who want to find faults. You don't expect Shishupal to learn something from Sri Krishna because he wants to misuse, be angry, slander, abuse. Nahi hoga. So therefore, inspiration and manipulation, they are so close to each other. If you are a good person, you should know the art of diplomacy. Sanatan Goswami, right? He used the diplomacy. Raghunath Das Goswami used the diplomacy. Prabhupada writes this. Remember when Prabhupada only asked his follower, am I simple or am I, diplomatic? The devotee said, no, Prabhupada, you are simple. He said, no, I am not. If I am simple, how is that I am able to cultivate all you people? I am a Kolkata boy, right? I know life. So therefore, when you force people to remain simple, then you should know that your life will be no better than Kolvecha Sridhar in regards to material prosperity. It's a good to hear story when you are sitting with all your tickets booked, all the rooms are properly maintained, there's the running water, then you can hear this story. But go and ask those people who actually have that kind of condition where they don't know where the meal will come from. Context becomes very important. Right. So therefore, the inspiration, what does it do? It frees you. It empowers you. It has the power to trust in you. Krishna, after speaking the Bhagavad Gita, he could have easily manipulated Arjuna. But rather, Krishna had the courage. एक पिता को, एक माता को, एक गुरु को, एक भगवान को अपने जो निर्भर है उनके प्रति विश्वास रखने के लिए क्षमता लगती है. Right? Requires lot of large heartedness. And that is the reason the freedom is there in the creation. It is not given. It is inherently there. Right? So that the freedom with the intention God has created. अपने पास creation नहीं है, सृष्टि तो सनातन है, इसलिए we don't use the word created, but inherently there, being well aware that this could be misused. Yesterday I was listening to an army officer, retired army officer. Somebody said me, he said, Prabhuji, ये देखो गीता और धर्म tradition से ही आता होगा इसमें. So this man began saying that, he said, the foundational principle of a combat soldier means he is there on the war front, not a straight on war, like fighting the insurgency in Kashmir, in Manipur, all these northeast places. He said, we live a life of duality constantly. If you are able to live a life of duality constantly, the duality is so constant and so fast, life and death. Somebody asked him, who is the leader? He said, look, in combat, the hierarchy doesn't matter. And he gave an example that when we are attacked, suddenly from everywhere, all of us were on the ground. And the bullets were shooting like anything. Now, how do you actually retaliate that? आपको थोड़ा तो आपकी मुंडी ऊपर करना पड़ेगा ना. So he said he got up. This Vivek Jacob got up and then he's shooting back. और उनको देखते सब लोग शूटिंग करने के लिए बोला, that is leadership. He said those who take responsibility, they are the leader in the combat force. Your hierarchy doesn't matter. In fact, as the law in the army, when there is a combat, they do not wear those badges. Very interesting, very important, right? We learn so much of this principle. And then he gave another example, which I was connecting with three murtis, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. He said our training is so designed that we are constantly broken and constantly built. हमको तोड़ते हैं, ऐसा तोड़ते हैं, mentally, physically, emotionally. We are broken to pieces. At the same time, we are built part by part. एंड जो सोल्जर को ऐसा तोड़ते हैं और उनको बनाते हैं, एंड he said, what is the underlying principle of our survival? He said love for each other. वहां भावनाएं बहुत गहराई में होती है, इतना गहराई में होती है, नेशन नहीं आता उनके सामने, अपना फेलो सोल्जर आता है, उसके लिए जान भी देने के लिए तैयार हो जाते हैं. So that micro level of going through this building and breaking, showing affection to each other becomes the cause of favorable to the nation. और देखो ये जो तोड़ना और जोड़ना who decide करता है? There is an officer who has gone through this. He has reconciled between breaking and building. He is like the maintenance officer, like Bhagwan Vishnu, harmonizes Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. They are not against each other. They are integrated by Lord Vishnu. Right? So therefore, in the Mahabharata, the inspiration and manipulation or diplomacy are there. Like Bruno was burned to death because he came out with the truth so aggressively. उसके बाद strategy नहीं था. On the other hand, Galileo, what he did was, he discovered Jupiter's 4 moons. Okay, उसको discover किया उन्होंने, and he linked his discovery to the enthronement of Cosimo II, the Medici family. Right, उनके साथ में जोड़ दिया. And he said, proclaiming it to a cosmic event that heralded the family's ascendancy. He said that these 4 moons represent the Cosimo family. उसका funding कभी कमी नहीं हुआ. He was done for life, whether research हो या ये हो. Thomas Alva Edison or Tesla, they were known each other. Tesla, out of trust, gave certain patent to Edison. Edison did not acknowledge, neither he paid money for Tesla. बोले क्या गंदा चीज है. How many people remember Tesla now because of social media? But in our childhood, बचपन से, as young as in the 3rd standard, everybody knew Thomas Alva Edison. जो फिट है वो survive किया. So it's really what Krishna does. He basically uses both principle. Foundation is inspiration. We will not call it as manipulation. We call it as diplomacy. But Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita very, very blunt to say, Dhyutam Chalayatasmi, that I am the cheat among the gamblers. ये कितना महत्वपूर्ण शब्द है, this word. Right? The Lord applied this teaching. He did not only say that, and therefore people like Sri Guru Charan Das, not our Sri Guru Charan Prabhu, wrote a book, Difficulty of Being Good. लिखने का जो तरीका है ना, it's like reading a very exciting novel. जो जिस प्रकार से लिखते हैं बहुत पढ़ने में मजा आता है, लेकिन he goops up so many places because his focus is to make people good, but the focus of life is to make you real. In my Mahabharat seminar, next session I'm doing, the difficulty of being real, right? Because the purpose of life is to be authentic in regards to what you are, who you are, what you can contribute, what you cannot contribute. आपकी ऑथेंटिसिटी कितनी है, क्योंकि सत्य सत्य ना बहुत ही खतरनाक है. सत्य इज वेरी वेरी, इसलिए कभी कभी सत्य को सत्य नंगा होता है, एंड देयरफॉर इट इज नॉट वेरी इजी टू हैंडल. So when you cover Satya with little cloth, little decoration, then it has the ability to penetrate. But when you keep covering, sometimes the Satya becomes very obscure. So therefore, Sri Krishna, when you study Sri Krishna in the Bhagavatam, in the Gita, in the Mahabharata, integrated one, not just focusing on one aspect. What do you find? You find the personification of diversity of the universe unified in one person. Concentrated diversity को unify करके आपके सामने प्रस्तुत कर सकते हैं. I become so fascinated, by the story of, imagine क्या मतलब कितना contradiction को कृष्ण basically integrates so beautifully. Now Krishna inspired Arjuna to hear Bhagavad Gita. Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. He said with great authenticity, Yathachasi tatakuru. Arjuna said, Nasto mohor smurtir labdva. Then for the next 10 days, Arjuna still had a conflict in regards to shooting Bhishma Dev. It is not that instantly the teaching became a reality. The teaching understanding came within 40 minutes, but applying took 10 days. It's not easy to apply what you know. तो 10 दिन लगा भीष्म को मारने के लिए. द्रोणाचार्य का वध होने के बाद में अर्जुन ने बखाड़ा खड़ा कर दिया. He was very upset. He spoke so strongly against Yudhishthir Maharaj, condemning him because the attachment with his teacher. Right? But Krishna did not condemn. Bloody, I told you the Gita and still you are acting. He kept on inspiring him. Not pushing, suggesting him, these are the realities. If you don't do this, this will not happen. If you study the way how Krishna told, therefore reading properly, you'll understand कैसे भगवान बातें करते हैं. जबरदस्ती नहीं करते किसी में. Allows them to think, allows them to execute, allows them to take responsibility also. आपको ये responsibility लेना पड़ेगा, आपकी आवश्यकता है. Right? Nowhere Krishna acts like a Jesus Christ standing on a crucifixion so that I take your responsibility. He said, no, you have to take responsibility. If you tell a lie to kill Dronacharya, उसका परिणाम भी आपका है. मैं नहीं लूंगा उसको. मैं क्षमता दूंगा mentally, emotionally to handle it. Most of the time, very rare, Krishna revives Parikshit Maharaj. Right? So that very Krishna, after the battle was over, everyone was eliminated who were responsible for acting against Draupadi, fighting on behalf of Adharma, be it Bhishma Dev, Bhurishrava or Ghatotkacha from their side. सबके सब मारे गए. शिखंडी मारा गया, धृष्टद्युम्न मारा गया, भीष्म सरसैया पर सोए थे, द्रोणाचार्य का वध हो गया. राइट? After all that, courage देखो. Can you imagine you are going to them to beg their forgiveness for whatever has happened. He is not changing his mindset for what happened. बट अभी हुआ है, आप दर्द, आपको दर्द है, इसलिए come here to beg forgiveness on behalf of the Pandavas. He basically created an insulate किया उस incident को. Then he comes there. They are burning with pain because of the death of their 100 sons. They knew, Gandhari knew, yato dharmo tato jaya. She was not able to give benediction to Duryodhan कि तुम्हारी विजयी होगी, जहां धर्म है वही विजयी होगा पुत्र. I can make your body steel frame. Of course, that story is not there in the Mahabharata. Duryodhan coming naked and then Gandhari opening her, the 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 band on her eyes and then seeing Duryodhan. That story is there, but very nice story. I tell that story. Right? Even though apparently she made his body Vajra Kaya, but she was not able to accept, agree, give the benediction that you will be victorious. परंतु जैसे दुर्योधन मर गया, she raised this question. She cursed Krishna. She caused blackness on the toe of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Dhritarashtra tried to kill Bhima. क्षमा मांगने के लिए आ गए भगवान, फिर भी वहां सतर्क थे. अगर कृष्ण सतर्क नहीं होते, right, Dhritarashtra would have tried to crush Bhima, but that would have not be possible. Bhima would have crushed Dhritarashtra to death. To avoid the blame on Bhima that he killed his uncle also. This is another explanation given by Naranacharya. He said there was no way Dhritarashtra could kill Bhima. It was other way around. Right. But imagine Krishna, if that is the truth, that Dhritarashtra would have killed Bhima. But देखो, निष्पापता में भी भगवान सतर्क होते हैं. This is the contradiction he is able to reconcile easily. He is able to act like a thunderbolt to eliminate all the adharmic forces, but he has the rose-like softness to understand the pain what they are going through. It doesn't matter whether you are a mother of a terrorist or mother of a soldier, the pain what the mother experiences is the same. So the terrorist needs to be eliminated and mother need to be pacified. कर सकते हैं क्या? इतना बड़ा contradiction को reconcile करना कितना मुश्किल है? So therefore, it is explained, emotions can help us make decisions, but they also overwhelm our capacity for rational reasoning. बुद्धि और भाव को कभी भी भगवान ने जाने नहीं दिया. And that is what he's trying to teach Arjun. And those will conclude, there are a lot more to speak. There is this book called as Anti-Fragile by Nasib Taleb. जो मैंने युद्ध का पढ़ा, he speaks also with statistics in regards to market, in statistics in regards to social life. बोलते हैं tranquil environment result in fragile system. Very profound. जहां सब कुछ ठीक हो, वो सिस्टम को फ्रेजाइल बना देता है. He said anti-fragility stems from volatileness. Right? जहां द्वंद्व है, वहां समचित्तत्व है. जहां समता है, जहां ट्रैंक्विलिटी है, वहां समस्या बढ़ जाता है. So therefore, breaking and building is the only way to help people grow. We have created a civilization with our own people, with our own children, where we are afraid to break. We are afraid to give less marks. We will not be able to handle failure. One devotee who teaches mathematics in South Bombay, he was telling, Prabhuji, माता पिता का जो नखरा जो होता है ना अपने बच्चों को लेकर, he said it is so painful that if you make a tough exam and if their children miss 2-3 marks, the parents are so involved. I said, don't coach them. Don't. He said, just teach them mathematics, get them maximum mark, take your maximum fees and use that, to some other student who have the courage to handle the duality. इनसे धन लूटो अच्छा से, क्योंकि इनको सुधरना नहीं है. They don't want. They are very clear that we don't want duality. हमें कोई कठिनाई नहीं चाहिए, हमको 100 marks चाहिए. Right? Therefore, nowadays this, like somebody was telling, the professional counselors, without the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, they try to find a trauma where it does not exist. Right? क्योंकि द्वंद्व तोड़ना और जोड़ना ये जीवन का एक अविभाज्य अंग है. And therefore Plato or Friedrich Nietzsche, or more so the Mahabharata, right, life itself tells there is karuna and there is krurata also. There is bhibhatsya, there is krodha, there is adbhuta, there is virya ras, there is karuna ras, there is हास्य रस. ये रस केवल अलग अलग पढ़ने के लिए नहीं है, ये कॉन्स्टेंटली फ्लो होता रहेगा. Right? And therefore Krishna is an amazing teacher, to reconcile between, udara charitanam vasudhaiva kutumbakam and shatyam acharya. हिंसा और अहिंसा को, सत्य और व्यवहार को अच्छा से रिकंसाइल करके हमें आगे बढ़ने के लिए मदद करता है. हरे कृष्ण. Any question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah. Anyone has any question? You can raise your hand. Prabhuji, till then I'll just go ahead. I had one thing to ask. You were speaking about this manipulation versus teaching Shastra, right? That point you were speaking on that. Last Saturday, one devotee, who hears you regularly, he was asking me, he was saying that this style of preaching which is there, where you teach Shastra, without, pushing too much for anything, he said that maybe it is a good strategy for someone who is already a, quote unquote devotee. So he was saying that if someone hears scripture like this, then, will he ever take to, the process the way we ISKCON people, we ask the request, we demand of people, right? A particular type of sadhana level. So he was saying that when you teach Shastra like this, very, without being manipulative and pushy, because that pushiness and manipulative are quite similar, right? We push people to do things in a particular way. So he was asking me, this Govind Prabhu style of teaching, is it more for those who are already devotee, or if somebody is very new and if you teach them like this, he may just take to whatever practice he would be able to, but he wouldn't come to a particular standard. I kind of agreed with that point. So I thought if you have anything to say, because I thought it's connected to what we were discussing.
Yeah, in the early stage of your your schooling, if you accept that you come to a school, then there are certain disciplines. It is but natural, right? But to treat the student who are, in the 10th standard, 12th standard, like they're in the first standard, That is the problem. The problem is not discipline, because if you take any methodology, like if you want to study Sangeet, if you want to study Bharatnatyam, if you want to study, the whole Sanatan Dharma works on the principle of discipline only. Right. So there is no argument about this. That if you are coming to Vaishnava path, you are wanting to become a Gaudiya Vaishnava, then these rules are applied. We are teaching you, you have to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, you have to follow the Vaishnava philosophy. That is absolutely, मतलब ये होना ही, मतलब आप किसी भी मेथड को देखो, even the most liberal artist, like Jordan Peterson says also, he said, unless you are conservative, you do not grow in life. उसमें को मतलब कोई, it's not a question only, but when you go into the world, so better talk about integration, and from there slowly when people come, then when you offer them a discipline, a process, right? When you go to IIT, when you go to Ved Gurukul, कहाँ भी जाओगे, ये तो natural है, मतलब इसमें कोई सवाल ही नहीं आता. The problem is like treating the 10th standard student like a first standard student. No, आपको कभी ना कभी बोलना पड़ेगा, यथेच्छसि तथा करो. आप बोलते ही नहीं हो, डरते हो बोलने के लिए. You fear empowering people, so that goes against the whole psychology of a creation. प्रकृति के विरुद्ध चला जाता. इसलिए जो अपना एक विद्यार्थी है, he was telling me, studying संगीत, he told, प्रभु जी संगीत का इतना जबरदस्त है. He said they teach you the basics and they teach you how to break that basic to build a new aspect of संगीत. राग को लो, उसको तान लगाओ, आलाप लगाओ, go from the basics, but when you go slowly, that very structure what you have developed becomes the cause of your spontaneity. It's sadhana to spontaneity is a journey, and it can only happen through discipline. तो कोई भी मेथड ले लो आपने, इसमें सनातन धर्म में कोई भी प्रकार का मेथड ले लो, उसमें ये इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ डिसिप्लिन and giving freedom from that discipline is the process.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Anything?
Chalo, I'll stop here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.